Welcome to the 16th session of Secrets of Spirituality. In the last sessions, we have been discussing right from the universe till the life on earth. And then we have been coming down from the human beings to the mammals, to the birds, to the reptiles, to the snakes, to the insects. And we have been gradually coming down in discussing the sensory perceptions and the sensory abilities. Human beings also, they are under mammals. Human beings are well equipped with the speech, skill and script when compared to mammals. And even human beings have 5 senses. Mammals have 5 senses. Birds have 5 senses. Even reptiles have 5 senses. When it comes to snakes and insects, we are not very sure whether they have the complete hearing abilities. There are some snakes which make sounds, and there are many insects which make lots of sounds. But as birds have ears, as mammals have ears, as humans have ears, such distinct hearing organs are absent in snakes and insects. Still, insects make sounds. It has been found that these insects are making sounds especially either to safeguard themselves by distracting the enemies or by disturbing the enemies, or to attract the other mating partners. It has been also been found that insects also emit sounds in the ultrasound region as well. Whereas birds, mammals and human beings are using a sound which is ranging from 20 hertz till 20 kilohertz. Especially with the human beings, we say that this is the auditory frequency range from 20 hertz till 20 kilohertz. But it has been found that insects emit sounds which are beyond 20 kilohertz, which means God has experimented in different ways with different species. And this means that when some insects are producing these sounds, and when these sounds are in the ultrasound range, it simply means that even in the ultrasound range, they are actually safeguarding themselves against any life threat. As we already know, there are main 4 basic things: Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithuna. Food, rest, fear, and sexual reproduction. As this is the case with all of these moving species, even in case of insects, the sounds which they produce are primarily used for these 2 purposes. One is Bhaya, one is Maithuna. And as such, I should say that insects and snakes do not have distinct ears. In fact, even though we say that the human body is complicated, I should also say that even an insect's body is also equally complicated. The only difference is that insect's body is a miniaturization of complication. Of course, in the mammals' bodies and in the human bodies, organs are bigger in size, whereas in the insect's body, the organs are smaller in size. It has been found that some of the insects have hearing abilities in their legs also. So, we really don't know the myriad secrets which God has implanted in all types of living species. The more we study and understand the different lifestyles of the organisms, or the more we study and understand the structure of the bodies of these creatures, the more we have to wonder at the ingenuity and the will of the creator. Now, our discussion has been coming down from 5 sense organ to 4 sense organs. You are seeing a picture on the screen. Here you can see the fishes. You are also seeing one tortoise or turtle. Now, what about the sensory abilities of the fishes? Obviously, these fishes do not have ears, and the fishes do not make any noise. But inside the ocean, there are dolphins, there are whales, they make noises. In fact, dolphins and whales also produce ultrasound noises, again for their own communication abilities. Mother dolphin will be calling its offspring by means of a strange ultrasound noise. It is strange for us, but it is natural for the dolphins. Which means that even dolphins and whales have their own hearing abilities. In fact, dolphins and whales come under mammals only, because the offspring are born through the womb itself. But what about the general fishes? The general fishes do not produce any sound as such. At least insects produce sound. Snakes like rattlesnake, they produce sound. But fishes do not produce any sound. The fishes do not have any hearing abilities. The fishes do not have any ears. Fine. Even insects and snakes did not have any distinct ears. So when fishes do not have any ears, how many senses do fishes have? Fishes do not have any nostrils. Fishes do not breathe through the nose. Whereas all the other species of life which I had discussed on the surface of earth, except the worm, all other species which I discussed, they had specific breathing apparatus. The worm's breathing is a passive breathing. I'll come to worms later on, because worms are present both on earth and in water. But initially I discussed the life forms which were present on earth. Now I am coming to the life form which is present in water. Now inside water, when these fishes are there, they have no smelling abilities. They have no nostrils. They don't breathe that way, the way in which we breathe. Their way of breathing is as such, taking air into their mouth and leaving it out through the gills, and whatever is the oxygen that is present or dissolved in water, that is being absorbed by their body. That is their method of respiration. As such, the breathing which is happening inside water and the breathing which is happening on the land are drastically different processes. Even though the purpose of breathing is same. Purpose of breathing is to absorb oxygen into the bloodstream. But the method of breathing or method of respiration with the living beings which are inside water and with the living beings which are on land, they are drastically different. Now, on the beings which are living on the land, with the beings which are living on the land, God made a peculiar combination of spelling along with breathing. Means, nose itself is used for breathing, nose itself is used for smelling. Tongue itself is used for tasting, tongue itself is used for speaking. So God made some of these organs two in one. But coming back to the fishes now. The fishes do not have any smelling ability. And the fishes have now only three sense organs: vision, taste, touch. So now we should come to a conclusion. Fishes have three senses. Insects and snakes have four senses. Birds and reptiles and mammals and humans have five senses. Now, you look at this tortoise or turtle. How many senses does it have? The turtle has nostrils also. But the special ability of the turtle or tortoise is that it will come up on the surface of water, it will take enough oxygen inside or enough air inside, it goes down, it has a natural ability of breath retention or kumbhaka. So as such, its body is another miraculous design, I should say. So in the Puranas, when they mentioned the 10 avatars of Vishnu, the first one was Matsya, second one was Kurma, third one was Varaha, fourth one was Narasimha, fifth one was Vamana. Anyway, I am going to tell about these things in detail later on also. But now understand, the first one was Matsya, means fish. Life was born in water first. Then Kurma or tortoise. Life gradually was in the amphibian stage, both in water, then on land. Then third one, Varaha. Life gradually started only on land. Varaha means boar. So from fish to tortoise to boar, then to Narasimha, half man, half animal. That means the life started transformation from a beast to a human being. Fifth one was Vamana, means completely the body became a human being. Vamana means dwarf, short, human structure. So you can visualize the ingenuity of the rishis when they mentioned these in the Puranas. They actually indicated the evolution of life. Fish, tortoise, boar, and half man, half beast, and full man. Later on it was Parashurama, Kodandarama, Krishna, Buddha, Kalki. Let me talk about the other 5 avatars in the later part of this presentation and not now. Let me suffice it to say now that these 5 avatars of Vishnu are basically the 5 forms of physical evolution. So coming back to fishes, these are the species present only in water. They can survive only in water, but they are comfortably unaware that they are actually in water, just like we are comfortably unaware that we are inside air, and all of us are comfortably unaware that we are inside God. Okay, now these fishes have 3 senses. One is vision, one is taste, one is touch. Let me proceed. Varieties of fishes. varieties of colors. Why these many colors with the fishes? The reason is fishes have vision, and through the colors they get attracted to each other, and through their own shapes each type of fish gets attracted to the same type. And in the ocean below, when there is no light available, there also there are fishes, and there are blind fishes as well. Because at the bottom of the ocean, as there is no light reaching there, still nature produced beings there as well. Those fishes can survive without vision also. So this way, I have been telling you, the number of organisms in the ocean are much larger than the number of organisms on the earth. Human beings need not be so proud that they are only large in number. Need not be. The largest number of species are inside water, both on land wherever water is, or both below land wherever water is. In the rivers, in the lakes, in the ponds, in the ocean. So, if you get into the ocean, there are fishes everywhere. Different types of fishes, different varieties of fishes, but almost all of the fishes are having a similar structure, similar anatomy, similar physiology. Let me proceed. Coming down one more level, we are coming to one more species of life called worms. I had shown you a slide where a worm becomes a butterfly. That is the true magic of nature, or the true magic which God shows in nature. Now look at these worms. Some worms are inside mud, some worms are on the plants, some worms are inside water, and these worms can be anywhere. In general, whenever you look at worms, you feel as if these worms are dirty or creepy, but actually they don't know that they are dirty or creepy. If at all this earthworm is cut into pieces, the specialty of the earthworm is that one side head, another tail will be there. If you cut it into two pieces, automatically from the cut portion, one side will again develop into head and the other side will again develop into tail. That means this earthworm will gradually become two earthworms without its own conscious decision. Actually, the earthworm does not know that it has this ability of becoming two worms. So that way, we don't know what all types of magical abilities are there in these life forms. Now, I have already told you about these particular grasshoppers. They keep on consuming leaves. See this particular worm which is on leaves, which will keep on consuming leaves. Gradually, it will become fat through its own saliva. It will create a cocoon, and after some time, from the cocoon, a butterfly emerges or a moth emerges. Sorry, I mentioned about grasshopper, not that. Worms. Grasshopper is an insect again. Okay. So now, how many senses these worms may be having? Obviously, these worms are blind. Even though you can see some structures on the body or near the head also, majority of the worms or almost all of the worms are blind. They have strange sense of movement. But all these earthworms are blind. So worms have how many sense organs now? They have a mouth, they have a rectum. This earthworm consumes mud only, excretes mud only. So it has a mouth. and it has a skin. But that means the earthworm has sensory ability of taste and sensory ability of touch. So that is why I said I'll discuss worms later on, because we are discussing these living beings on the earth in terms of the sensory organs. Now we can conclude in general that worms have 2 senses, fishes have 3 senses, insects and snakes have 4 senses, reptiles, birds and mammals and humans have 5 senses. So that way we should say that there has been evolution with the upward compatibility of progression, where bodies also became slightly larger in size and along with the addition of sensory organs. In fact, we are going in the downward ladder just to understand that beyond human beings also, in nature, there have been myriads of experiments conducted by God. Coming down further, now these worms are in water and on land and on plants. Everywhere worms are there. And there is a type of worms which can gradually undergo metamorphosis also. Some types of worms only will become moths and butterflies. And we have seen beyond other organisms. We have been discussing about all types of moving organisms till now, the moving life forms. All these life forms have brain. Even the worms have a tiny brain. Even insects have tiny brain. Comparatively, mammals have bigger brains compared to the lower level of organisms. Now this brain is being imparted only for all the moving organisms so that they will memorize their experiences. Now whatever you are seeing on the slide, these are plants and trees. These do not have brain because they do not require brain, because they do not move and they do not have any experience as such. When any being is moving, it is involved in food, rest, then fear and sexual activity. Right from worm till human beings, the reproduction is by means of sexual activity, but in different ways. I have been telling you about Udbija, Svedaja, Andaja, Jarayuja. Now whatever you see on the slides, these are Udbija. Means a seed will sprout from the surface of earth and that will become a plant or a tree. Whereas whatever is the reproduction happening inside water, that is called Svedaja. Sveda means moisture. And then you have Andaja, the one which lays eggs and offspring are produced. It need not be only the eggs of the birds. It can be eggs of the reptiles. It can be the eggs of the insects. It can be the eggs of the snakes. All of them lay eggs only. Even insects are also laying eggs only. Even though the eggs of insects are immersed in a fluid medium and the eggs are so small, still all are eggs only. For that matter, even the fishes will lay eggs only. But those eggs are inside water. That is why it is called Svedaja. And the mammals are called Jarayuja because the reproduction is happening through the womb. So right from worms till human beings, the reproduction has been happening only through sexual activity. Now, my dear listeners, with the human beings, there has been a concept that sexual activity is vulgar. Now, if sexual activity is vulgar, I am also vulgar, you are also vulgar, everyone is vulgar as such, because we are all born through the sexual activity of our parents only. Still, why human beings consider sexual activity as vulgar? The reason is human beings have made it vulgar. Otherwise, in nature, sexual activity is very common. In nature, except the human being, all other beings are naked. But all those beings which are naked, they are not ashamed of their naked body. Human beings are ashamed of their naked body. Why? Because they think that naked body is vulgar. Why? Because they have not conquered their own desires. Almost all of the moving species on earth, they have a season for mating. They have a season for sexual reproduction. And they don't mate or they don't reproduce simply like that. They have not become the slaves of their instincts. But the human beings, even though when they have better intellectual abilities, most of the human beings have become the slaves of their own instincts. And that is when they involve in some of these activities, crossing their own limits. And that is when they call all these things as vulgar things. When a cow is excreting, when the cow dung is coming out of his rectum, the cow does not think that it is doing a vulgar activity. If a human being is urinating or excreting, human beings think that this is all vulgar activity. Is it vulgar activity, or is it the toxins that are going out of the body? The excreta has to go out of the body, urine has to go out of the body, and feces has to go out of the body. But human beings have a misconception that some parts of their body are vulgar. But the funny thing is that through those vulgar parts only, their bodies are being born. Now remember, my dear listeners, sexuality is a divine method of reproduction. Right from worm till human. Everywhere it is through sexual activity, through male and female species only, the offspring is being born. So if you label the sexual activity or the mating of male and female as vulgar, then you should label the complete nature as vulgar. Now you should find out which one is not vulgar. Or you better change your way at which you look at nature. You better change your way at which you look at your own body. I have a highest respect for Mahavira Tirthankara. I have a highest respect for the Digambara monks in the Jain faith system. You know why? They do not have the bodily attachment. When they walk naked in the public, they do not feel ashamed. Remember the Tarunasagar Maharaj, Tarunasagar Muni? Remember him for his Katu Pravachana. He used to tell the facts of life very bitterly, very boldly. Now the Digambara monks, think about them. They are not ashamed of the natural body. They don't think their body is vulgar. They don't think that any part of the body is vulgar as such or obscene as such. Now, when looking at their lifestyle, other human beings should be ashamed of. That why do you consider this God manufactured, God designed body as something vulgar? Some parts of this body are obscene or vulgar. Now, it does not mean that you may think that I'm asking you to become naked, or I am thinking that I'll also become naked. Not that way. I'm just asking you to change your direction of thinking. I'm again not telling you that because sexual activity is not vulgar, we can have a free sexual activity with anyone and everyone. No, not that also. I had told you earlier that marriage is one of the 16 samskaras. I am not telling you that you should change your lifestyle as such now. I am only telling you that a paradigm shift is needed out of this ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithuna. Food, sleep, fear, and sexual activity. How much prominence has to be given for each one of these? And how much free will can be entertained in each one of these? How much limit has to be imposed on each one of these? That should be seriously thought of. Otherwise, there is a general feeling with the normal people that people who are in the family life are vulgar, people who have left the family life are more pure. Again, that is a misconception. All the sannyasis need not be pure. All the samsaris need not be impure. For that matter, all the rishis of the Indian Vedic time, they were all family men only. Can you call Vasishtha as a vulgar person because he was in the family life? He had a son called Shakti. Shakti had a son called Parashara. Parashara had a son called Vyasa. Vyasa had a son called Shuka. Can you say that all these great rishis were vulgar? There is a serious need to take facts as squarely as possible. And I'll repeat the sentence once again. Right from worm till the humans, the production of offspring is only through the sexual reproduction. And distinctly, male and female species were produced in nature by God for the cycle of reproduction itself. Human beings need not consider their body as vulgar. Human beings should take much bigger responsibility of maintaining their body in a physically healthy way, in a mentally healthy way. If Sadashiva Brahmendra started walking naked, people called him as an Avadhuta later on. But in the initial days, even he was troubled. When Mahavira Tirthankara lost his bodily consciousness in an ecstatic mood when he was traveling around without really caring for the clothes on his body, people started pelting stones at him in the beginning, thinking that he is a madman. Later on, they came to know that he is a realized monk. And gradually now they worship him as the 24th Tirthankara. There is a serious need for human beings to understand the secrets of nature, the secrets of body, and the secrets of spiritual life. We had come down right from human beings till worms. Human beings have, along with the mammals and the birds and the reptiles, with 5 sensors, and snakes and insects having 4 senses, fishes having 3 senses, worms having 2 senses. Now we are coming down to a particular life form which is also having a lot of varieties, but this is called as a sthavara life form. Sthavara means non-moving life form. All the other life forms which we discussed are jangama or moving life forms. All the moving life forms have brain. Now the non-moving life forms do not have brain because they do not have movement. They do not have such experiences which the moving bodies are having. But coming to the sense organs, how many senses does this tree have? How many senses does the plant have? You may ask, sir, do trees have senses? You may ask. Then I'll ask you a question. When this tree is growing its roots down, the roots keep on going down. And if at all there is a stone in between, the roots will cross over the stone and they grow further down. And the roots will keep on growing only for finding water there. Roots can actually touch the mud particles, they can actually touch the stone particles also, and they can grow that way. This simply means that the roots have the sense of touch. And if you find a creeper going around a tree, the creeper is actually touching the tree, and actually by means of the touch only it is going around the tree. This simply indicates that the trees and plants have the sense of touch. And you already are familiar with the touch-me-not plant. The touch-me-not plant exhibits its sense of touch directly. If you touch the plant, automatically all the leaves will close. There are plants such as Drosera. There are many other plants who are exhibiting the sense of touch directly, visibly. But it does not mean that only those plants have the sense of touch. All the other plants also have the sense of touch. All these plants, even the plants which you are going to cultivate on the pots, even they will have the sense of touch. In the sense, when the roots are going down, the plant will sense that the root cannot go further down, and the plant will limit its growth there. You would have heard of this Japanese art of growing plants, which are dwarf plants. If at all you visit Mysore, in Mysore you visit Pandith Sudhakara Ashrama. There you will see a garden and you will see a museum. You should watch both of them. In the museum, you will see really very rare articles. And now there is a parrot garden as well. There is something called Shukavana. You can actually see there very rare species of parrots there. Speaking parrots. Now you also should watch a small garden there where there are dwarf plants, dwarf mango trees there, dwarf jackfruit trees there. The way in which those plants were cultivated was, the plants were not given enough land to grow their roots, and the plants were tied by means of wires. They were given lesser amount of nutrition. Yes, that garden is called as bonsai garden, and that art of cultivating small plants is called as bonsai. I don't know whether we should call it as an art or not, because actually this particular art is against nature. The mango tree can grow much bigger, jackfruit tree can go much bigger, but Japanese developed this particular method there because they had scarcity of land there. And they experimented with these plant life. So, if the plants are deprived of nutrition, or if the plants sense that they do not get enough nutrition, if they sense that their roots cannot grow further, then the plants will actually limit their own growth. And they become a dwarf coconut tree, a dwarf mango tree, a dwarf jackfruit tree. You should visit the Ganapati Sachidananda Ashrama at Mysore to watch these so-called wonderful and beautiful small plants. And when you go there, don't forget to buy the Japamala. In the Ganapati Sachidananda Ashrama, you have the Japamala available that is made out of this particular fig tree bark. In Kannada we call it as Attiyamara, Audumbara Vriksha in Sanskrita. Audumbara is called to be the sacred abode of Lord Dattatreya. So if you go to Mysuru, if you visit Ganapati Sachidananda Ashram, visit the museum, visit the bonsai garden, visit the parrot garden, and visit the whole of ashram as such, and also buy the Japamala there made out of Audumbara beads. Because later on, I am going to initiate you people into the chanting of Gayatri Mantra. Now coming back to this subject, the trees and the plants will have one sense called touch, and the worms will have two senses called touch and taste. Fishes will have three senses called touch and taste and vision. Insects and snakes will have four senses called touch and taste and vision and smell. Butterflies, cockroaches, they all have antennae. Through the antennae, they can sense also, they can smell also. Snakes can bring out their tongue out of the mouth, and through that, they can smell. And coming to reptiles, birds, mammals and human beings, I have been telling you repeatedly that we have five senses. Now, all these trees and plants, they are beautiful in the sense they will have colorful flowers, colorful fruits. Now understand the relationships here. Insects such as butterflies and honeybees and bees and bumblebees, they are all utilized for pollination. They themselves don't know that they are involved in pollination. Now, from some other flower, the pollen grain comes into some other flower, and there will be cross-pollination. And because of the wind that is blowing, there can be self-pollination. Due to gravity also, there can be self-pollination. Now, through the pollination, the flowers will get fertilized, flowers will become fruits. The same fruits become the food for reptiles, birds and mammals and humans. Now, do you see a big relationship here? You should visualize a very big relationship here. You should visualize a very big divine plan here, where there is interdependency among all the species of life. In one way or the other, our life is dependent on the pollinators, which are insects. In one way or the other, our life is dependent on the trees and plants. We cannot say that these flowers are only for the sake of the beauty. These flowers have to attract the insects. But the insect will not be knowing the beauty of the flower. Now the question is, if the insect does not understand the beauty of the flower, Why the flower has been made beautiful? Who will appreciate the beauty of the flower now? A bird will not appreciate the beauty of the flower. A mammal will not appreciate the beauty of the flower. An insect will not appreciate the beauty of the flower. Who has to appreciate the beauty of the flower? Human beings are supposed to look at all these wonderful, beautiful, natural outcomes. And human beings are supposed to understand the plans of the Creator, or the designs of the Creator, or the intentions of the Creator. All these life forms are interdependent, and the whole of the earth is one single ecosystem. The complete earth is one single ecosystem. Even the water, air and land, they are also connected to each other in many ways. There is water that falls on land. The same water goes down into the land. And when it goes down the surface of earth, somewhere it will become a fountain. It will flow like a river. And somewhere it will remain like a pond or a lake. And through that body of water itself, life forms on the earth will survive. So how can we say that water and earth are independent of each other? All these materials that are on earth have their own interdependency, and through that interdependency only all these life forms are designed and manufactured on this earth, and the reproductive cycle is also formed. You can visualize this now, that right from worm till humans, the reproductive cycle is happening through the sexual activity, whereas with the trees and plants, the reproduction is happening through the pollination. Without the pollination, how can trees and plants reproduce themselves? If the flower is not fertilized, flower will not become a fruit, flower will not become a seed. Which simply means that there is an interdependency between trees and plants and the insects. There is an interdependency between the trees and plants and the mammals. One is coming for the nectar, the other one is coming for the fruit. My dear friends, look at nature with the spiritual angle, not just with the materialistic angle, not just with the scientific angle, not just with the biological or zoological angle. If you change your vision, you will gradually understand everything of the secret of spirituality. These trees, wonderful trees, they grow so tall and they will have so many branches. Each branch will have so many leaves and they give shade. The same leaves fall down and they mix with earth, and the same nutrients will again go into the tree's body. These trees will have a beautiful process of photosynthesis. There is respiration happening or breathing happening even inside the trees and plants, without any heart, without any blood. These trees also absorb sunlight, and the chlorophyll is involved in photosynthesis, where the trees will produce oxygen and leave it to the air. And we, moving beings, breathe in the air, and the oxygen which is released by the trees and the plants are consumed by the moving organisms. Now you can see the relationship between the Sthavara and the Jangama living beings. You can understand the relationship between the non-moving living beings and the living beings. My dear friends, in a tree, if there are, let us say, 10,000 leaves, pluck out all those leaves and find out how many of those leaves are similar in shape. You can try it out. Just pluck some 10 leaves out of any tree and arrange all the 10 leaves in front of you and find out how many leaves will be exactly of the same shape and size. You will wonder why you may not find identical two leaves. Now think about the simple cellular arrangement that is happening inside a plant, inside a tree. Who is planning it? Can you say it is all simply chemistry? Can you say simply it is because of photosynthesis? Can you say simply because it is all the plant cells joining together? Where is the decisive factor for the shape of each leaf? Where is the intelligence present? The intelligence has to be within, right? If that intelligence or the consciousness, if it is not within the body of the trees, if it is not within the body of the plant, how can there be diverse varieties of leaves with each leaf different from the other leaf? You can try out this experiment either in a mango tree or in a jackfruit tree. You can try out. Of course, don't try this with the arecanut tree or a coconut tree. Okay. If you experiment this with the arecanut tree or a coconut tree, you will find so many similar leaves. I am not talking about those trees. I am talking about the trees which you can specifically see in this manner, which you are seeing on the slide. This simply means that God has been experimenting with the shapes of the leaves, sizes of the leaves, the types of the trees. And do you think it is simply an outcome of air, water, and earth, and it is simply a combination of all these natural materials joining together, becoming plant cells, and plant cells themselves joining? Can it be so? When you look at a beautiful flower, you should really visualize the intelligent creator or the conscious creator who is imparting the colors as well as the petals, as well as the fragrance, as well as the nectar, as well as the beauty. Now, if that intelligence is not within the plant, if it is not within the tree, how such creation is possible, or how such transformation of material is possible? Look at these flowers. Some flowers will have 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 20. Each flower is different from the other flower. Color is different, shape is different, fragrance is different, number of petals is different, arrangement of petals is different. And you can see some flowers, small size flowers in the middle, big size flowers around, and even in them, the shapes are slightly different. You can look at this last flower, Shankhapushpa. In this Shankhapushpa, you can visualize that this particular flower's petal is arranged as if it is a conch. That is why it is called as Shankhapushpi. Again, my question comes back. When a honeybee or a butterfly, when they come to this flower, they do not come to this flower for appreciating the beauty of the flower. They come to this flower only for the sake of their food. They don't know that they are even pollinating the flower. Now, for whose sake is there this beauty? The answer is the Creator looks at his own creation and he has his own way of appreciating his own creation. Now, through all these creations, the Creator is indicating that it is He who is deciding. As spectators, at least we should appreciate. That is the least that we can do. As spectators, at least we should understand. That is the least that we can do. We need not worship Him. We need not pray to Him. We need not be afraid of Him. As spectators, as intelligent human beings, the least that we can do is just to understand that there is Creator. That is enough. And we should also understand that the Creator is within the creation. The Creator cannot be outside the creation, because the Creator Himself became the creation. If you don't understand this right now, you will understand it gradually as the slides progress. It is difficult to understand at this point of time for you that when I say the Creator became the creation, it is slightly difficult for you. But if I tell you the mother only became the child, will you agree? If I tell you the tree only became the fruit, will you agree? In the mango tree only the mango fruits come out. From the coconut tree only the coconuts come out. From the jackfruit tree only jackfruits come out. From the living body only another living body comes out. Now will you understand that there is child within the mother? Now will you understand there is tree within the seed? So how can there be Creator outside the creation? Inside the mother only when child is born, how can mother be separate from the child? Mother and child have to be together. Similarly, if the egg has to be produced inside the hen's body, hen and egg should be together. How can hen be separate from the egg? Logically proceeding in the same way, how can the Creator be separate from the creation? If you can understand this, it is better now. If you do not understand this right now, you will gradually understand as the slides progress. Coming to the pollinators. This is one beautiful pollinator. One small worm becomes a butterfly with beautiful wings. As a worm, it lives for a few months. As a butterfly, it lives for a few weeks. Now that is the specialty there. Worms will live for a few months, but butterflies live for a few weeks. They really don't know that their stay is temporary. So the worms became butterflies only for the purpose of pollination, nothing else. Now why these butterflies have beauty? One reason is camouflaging. Means they can remain safe from their predators to some extent. That is one reason. Another reason is, as intelligent human beings, you look at the butterflies and you wonder at the abilities of the creator. In Bengaluru, in the Banerghatta National Park, there is a butterfly park. When the lockdown is completely lifted, those who have not seen the Banerghatta National Park, go there and definitely visit the butterfly park. And when you visit the butterfly park, remember me. Remember this slide. You watch all those butterflies in the butterfly park, and at least then you appreciate the creator who creates such wonderful, beautiful insects. The another pollinator, our very good friend, the honeybee. This fellow is so innocent. This fellow does not know anything else but to go to the flowers and keep the nectar inside the mouth and hold the pollen through the legs and fly all the way to the honeycomb and store the nectar inside the honeycomb for future and store the pollen also inside the honeycomb for future. This fellow is so much worried that food will become scarce someday. So this fellow stores the nectar also, stores the pollen also. The reason is, if at all the nectar is completely exhausted, because his family is so big, right? In his family there will be hundreds of honeybees, along with a few male bees, along with one queen bee. All other honeybees are eunuchs. They are neither male nor female. And the queen or the female bee has no other job to do than to become pregnant and to keep on laying eggs. That is his only job. And the few male bees which are present in that honeycomb, they have no other job to do than to keep doing the queen bee pregnant. They have no other job to do. Now don't say that they are doing some vulgar thing. That is how God planned them. They really don't know whether it is vulgar or not, whether it is obscene or not. Through that process, the queen bee lays a lot of eggs, and when the queen bee lays a lot of eggs, majority of the eggs again become these eunuch honeybees. These particular honeybees are neither male nor female. Their only job is to come down to the flowers and taste the nectar, store the nectar in the mouth, and take the pollen grain also and store them there in the honeycomb. When honey becomes extinct, they survive on tasting that particular pollen also. But in the process, what is happening? Without their own knowledge, they are involved in pollination. I had gone to visit one particular state award winning farmer called Ghani Khan along with my student. He has a beautiful farm in a village called Kirugavalu, that is near Madavalli. When he went there, we wanted to see his farm where he cultivates lot of rice varieties, lot of special rice varieties, organic rice varieties. He was showing us the farm, and when we were crossing that particular field, jasmine flower smell was coming. And I was wondering from where this jasmine flower smell is coming. There was no jasmine plant available anywhere. He sensed me and immediately told, "Sir, it is not a jasmine flower which you are smelling. It is a jasmine rice plant. It is called Thai jasmine. It is a Thailand variety of rice, and the rice plant itself is emanating the smell of jasmine." And I was wondering, at his cultivation. And he took us to a particular field where many rice varieties were grown, only as small patches there. He was preserving those rice varieties as seeds there. He wanted to preserve them. Now, when we were going there, nearby, there was a paddy field, and those particular rice plants had flowers on them. And I was seeing one particular honeybee slowly moving from bottom to top in the same rice plant. I kept on watching and I asked that farmer Ghani Khan, what is it doing? Then he said, Sir, Yunidrene nanu sir, Yunillandra nanilla sir. He simply told, because of him I am here, sir. If he is not there, I am not here, sir. He has to daily come to my field. He has to daily pollinate all the rice flowers, sir. When he pollinates all the rice flowers, each rice flower become a rice grain, sir. Okay. I asked, okay, you should be thankful to him. But what is he exactly doing? Then Ghani Khan told, he visits every rice plant, and in each rice flower, a small amount of nectar is there. And he sucks that particular nectar, keeps it inside the mouth, and then visits the next rice flower also. That way he will not leave any rice flower as such. That way he is very selfish, sir. He is very selfish. He visits every rice flower, sir. But because of his selfishness, he makes us grateful, sir. Now remember what Einstein told. The day when honeybees become extinct on this earth, within the next 4 to 5 years, all the complete life forms on this earth may become extinct. Now think of God's plan. What do you call as an insect? Don't consider it no more as an insect. What do you feel something is creepy? Something is irritating. Something may be disturbing you. No, don't think that way. Whenever one of my friends whom you are seeing in this slide, if at all they visit your house without their own knowledge, please don't beat them. Please don't kill them. You have no right to kill them. As much as you have a freedom to live, even they have a freedom to live. Don't say that they will die within 1 week, sir. You don't say that butterfly will die within 1 week. Let it die within 1 week either by the divine will. You need not kill it by your will. I'll tell you what will happen. Whatever you do, you will remember, right? Whichever species or creatures you kill, you cannot forget it, right? Whatever you do, you will remember. Whatever you remember will become your chitta vritti. And as long as the chitta vritti is there, you will be bound by the law of karma. Don't suddenly come to a conclusion that only human beings are great on this earth, all other things are worst. In fact, it is the reverse. All these beings are God's myriad creations, and they are doing their particular type of work, or they are fulfilling their particular purpose of life. Without their own knowledge, they have been the tools in the God's hand for serving some natural purposes. Unlike the human beings who are serving only their selfish purposes. So if at all, by misfortune or unfortune, if my two friends whom you are seeing on the slide, if at all they mistakenly visit your bedroom or living room or kitchen, please take care. Unnecessarily don't kill them, don't harm them. If possible, help them to go out of your house, because they don't know that they came inside your house. Actually, they don't know that it is your house. I had told you last time also. Many times these insects come into our house and they will try to go out through the window glass. They don't know that it is a glass. They go near the tube light or the electric lamp. They don't know that it is a lamp or a tube light. As sensible human beings, what you can immediately do is switch off those lights and open your windows. They will simply go out. That is the best thing you can do at that time. I hope you will do that. Coming back to flowers. I have been telling you the trees and plants have one sense of touch. Now look at all these flowers. I have been telling you about flowers at length. Now look at some flowers of different shapes, different sizes. At times we will be wondering whether it is a leaf or a flower. Many times leaf looks like a flower. At times some flowers look like leaves. And throughout the world, how many types of flowers, how many shapes of flowers. At times we think some flowers may not be of any use. But I had told you to look at the YouTube videos of birds of paradise. I hope you have already gone through those videos. If you have not gone through those videos, go through them. Go through the wonderful creations which God has made in a small island called Papua New Guinea Island, where human beings are less. So God could produce these wonderful creations of birds over there. And you can also wonder at the types of flowers which are present in those forests. Now you may wonder, we in the gardens will look at the beauty of the flowers, we will appreciate, sir. What about the flowers which are produced in the thick forests, and who will watch them, sir? You don't have to worry about all that. Whoever has made them will watch them. As I told you, the creator himself will become a creation, and he only will look at his own creation, and he only will develop some other better creation just by means of his own laws of evolution. The only purpose of life is to evolve into a better being. There is no other purpose in life. The only purpose of life is to live into a better being or evolve into a better being. That's all. All other purposes are temporary. All other purposes are at times unimportant. The only purpose of life is to evolve into a better being. Now, if you can understand this particular purpose, if you can put your effort to evolve into a better being, then the progress is accelerated, the progress is faster. If you do not put this particular effort, he will be putting his effort on you. The law of karma will take its own course. The law of divine balance will take its own course. I am going to tell you the 5 laws at the end of this presentation. So I'll repeat this sentence again. The only purpose of life is to evolve into a better being. That's all. There is no other purpose in this life. Because that is exactly what the Creator has been doing. He has been evolving everything into a better being. Whether it is a flower, whether it is an insect, whether it is a snake, whether it is a bird, whether it is a mammal, whether it is a human also. That is where After Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, later on we have Parashurama, Kodandarama, Krishna, Buddha, Kalki. The first five have been physical evolution. The next five have been mental evolution. If you do not evolve by your own self, he will force you to evolve by his own laws of karma. You have no other choice than to abide by the laws of the Creator. As Moses has rightly told, those who shall not live by the law shall die by the law. Please watch the movie, The 10 Commandments. My sincere feeling is that is the only movie which will remain everlasting. I feel no other movie has been so powerful as this particular one movie, The 10 Commandments. You will have to watch one more wonderful movie, The Ben-Hur. I have been telling you to watch these two movies. I hope those who have not yet watched will at least watch. At least they be that much obedient to my words. Now the outcome of flowers is fruits, seeds, vegetables. We will have creepers, we will have plants, we will have trees. The funny thing here is the creepers will have bigger vegetables, pumpkins, melons, ash gourds. The creepers, actually the creepers are so small, their body does not have much weight. But the vegetables which come out of these creepers is much larger in weight. That means the Creator has been humorous also in his creations. And the plants will have vegetables, fruits. The trees will have vegetables, fruits. And all this is because of our two good friends, the pollinators. All this is because of the cross pollination. Again, all this is because of the flowering. Without flowers, how can there be fruits? So, varieties of vegetables, varieties of fruits, and some seeds which are directly edible. You can see the corn here. But many of the seeds are not for our direct edible consumption. As I had told you earlier, most of the seeds are consumed by birds, whereas the vegetables and the fruits are consumed by mammals and reptiles. So, the fruits are the outcome for the mammals to survive, especially the herbivorous mammals to survive. In fact, we do not come under herbivores, we come under frugivores. We are basically fruitarians by nature. At least if we remain vegetarian, that is the good thing that we do to nature. Furthermore, different types of edible roots, edible leaves, edible corms. You can see so many such herb varieties. You can see carrots, you can see asparagus or ashwagandha in Sanskrita. You can see tomatoes. You can see many edible leaves, and we will have salads, we will have sambar, we will have vegetable curries. We garnish our food by means of so many of these edible leaves. Now, how much of variety of food is required for you when nature is abundantly producing so many types of fruits and vegetables, and when God has been gracious in creating myriads of food articles? Why should people eat meat? Why should people kill other birds and animals? Why should people kill other moving living beings? That has been my question in the beginning also. If you people have not yet become vegetarians, if you people have not yet skipped the habit of meat eating, now the question will continue to you also. If you keep killing, you will get killed. That is the law of karma. Let us come down one level down now. We have been discussing right from the beginning the visible life forms, and we came down to one sensed trees and plants and creepers. Now coming down further, you are looking at these particular cellular beings: amoeba, paramecium, euglena. These are the cellular beings which are present in the fluid medium. In fact, these beings are not visible to the naked eye. Whatever I have been discussing till now, right from the first slide till the previous slide, right from the slide where we had a compressed vision of the universe with hundreds of stars in that particular slide, till the previous slide where I showed you many vegetables. Till then everything was visible, right? And we had classified the living beings based on these 5 sensory perceptions or sensory organs, right? Now what about these cellular living beings? They have their own life. Amoeba has life. Paramecium has life. Euglena has life. Euglena is very special as such. I'll tell about it later. Amoeba is also very special. You can watch through the YouTube videos of a microscopic vision of amoeba itself. Now amoeba can consume another microscopic organism. As I've been telling you, when the creator made bigger bodies, we thought he's only interested in making bigger bodies. But he has already made smaller bodies, and smaller bodies are as complicated as bigger bodies. As far as the creator is concerned, there is nothing like bigger and smaller, because universe is multidimensional. When universe is multidimensional, we cannot say what is small and what is big. As I've been telling you, even an insect's body is as complicated as a human body. The only difference is the insect's body is a microscopic arrangement of organs, whereas a human's body is a macroscopic arrangement of organs. If at all you dissect a human body, you can distinctly see all the parts. But if at all you dissect a cockroach's body, there are so many tiny parts which you may not be able to see with your naked eye. You may have to use a microscope. That way we cannot say which is small, which is big. Now in the technical way, if you have to define, we have these multipliers called kilo, mega, giga, tera. 10 power 3, 10 power 6, 10 power 19, 10 power 12. Then we have peta, exa, zeta, iota. That is 10 power 15, 10 power 18, 10 power 21, 10 power 24. Now this is in the upward scale. Now coming to the downward scale, we have milli, micro, nano, pico. That is 10 power 3, 10 power minus 3, 10 power minus 6, 10 power minus 9, 10 power minus 12. But after that also we have femto, atto, zepto, yocto. 10 power minus 15, 10 power minus 18, 10 power minus 21, 10 power minus 24. On one side we have telescope, on the other side we have microscope. Now how can we say something is small, how can we say something is big, is up to our limitations of the vision. We really don't know. When we imagine the multidimensional universe, we really cannot say which one is big, which one is small, which one is biggest, which one is smallest. We cannot say. Whatever you call it as small is dependent on our ability of the vision. Whatever is looking small for us, it is looking big for an ant. Whatever is looking big for us, it is looking small for an elephant. Now, how do you say that only by deciding upon the human vision, the humans will come into a judgment which one is small, which one is big? That is where the relativity is. As the great scientist Einstein says, time is relative, space is relative. For that matter, anything and everything is relative as far as sensory perceptions are concerned. Now you are looking at the cellular organisms. I'll discuss about the cellular organisms in tomorrow's session. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. We will see you again on Friday. But I want you to think about the sensory perceptions of these cellular organisms. Because even amoeba has got a life. Paramecium has got a life. Euglena has got a life. These are all living beings. When they are living beings, what about their sensory abilities? Think about it. I'll see you on Friday. Until then, take care and bye-bye.